Yo, 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 hello everybody and welcome to day 2 of the South Coast GT 2018. We're back. Day 1's been and gone. We've had loads of fun, loads of games been played, and I know a lot of people are interested in who's winning and what's going on overnight. So Russ, what have we got on the tables behind us, which is the most important thing going on?
Well, table 1 is Vanguard Wing against Change Host. So the scenario is duality of death. It's like Jack's been very aggressive. He's got a Frostheart in his army as an ally, which will be really useful in this scenario. Because it's one of those models that you can put on the objectives, very hard to get rid of. The terrain's in a very favourable position for him as well there, because it's obviously shielding the Frostheart. I think Craig's on a bit of a back foot here. And then we've got Daughters of Cain against Multitudinous Host. The Daughters, obviously, with Marathi, very strong in this scenario because you can't kill her in one round, so she's going to score multiple turns regardless, so she's pretty good. I mean, obviously the Zinch army can chuck out a lot of damage, and he's got a lot of bodies on the table, so I think that's it's going to be an interesting matchup there. But you can see Ben's already, I think he's already taken objective with Marathi behind the Warscryer Citadel, and he's got the Cauldron on the other objective, so Ben's into a really good position. It'll be whether or not his opponent can actually bully him off the table. But I don't know how many heroes he's got. I think he's only got the Scribes and Lord of Change. I can't see. It all looks the same because it's all horrors.
Yeah, it's a particularly big Change Host, that one. I saw it being played yesterday. I know we had to put a couple of photos up, and it just swarms the board, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it's multitudinous, so it all heals. All models, all the units replenish themselves, and then obviously you can bounce models into the other units as you go. And then we've got table 3, which is 2 clubmates, Liam and Pano, playing each other. A lot of banter, but Marathi again is so strong in this scenario that I think Pano might struggle to get a win out of this one.
Plus he's got to fight them, which they're pretty decent in combat, aren't they, the Daughters these days?
Yeah, I imagine that maybe Liam's been a bit too aggressive with Marathi, but maybe he's using her to sucker Pano in, and then he's going to wave of Witch Elves in to do all the damage, which I think is probably where he's going to go with that. And it looks like, I mean, to be honest, this scenario is quite favourable for Liam, I think, so we'll see how it plays out. And then on table 4, we've got Pete using Nagash against the Slaanesh army, and so obviously Nagash, he's going to boss up onto an objective. He's going to be really, really tricky to get rid of. You can see he's already taken an objective, or either that, and then you can see there's a Keeper of Secrets on that side as well. But Slaanesh is actually a really good army, so I don't know whether he can take Nagash down with the death of 1,000 cuts. Nagash is just really tricky to get rid of, but it's whether or not Pete can basically outscore on 2 objectives, because all the other guy has to do really is hold the other one and then stop him scoring for 1 turn, and then should be able to put it back.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see actually who had first turn, because Slaanesh are quite a good army for board position. I've played against them a lot, and I find that if they can swarm the board early, it can be difficult in this scenario to actually get near it. But looking at it, from what I can see, I think I can't actually see where Nagash is. Oh, he is. He's behind the building. Yeah. You probably see it on camera now. But yeah, so it does look like he's managed to get board position. Sometimes with these Slaanesh ones, they swarm you so far up, you can't get near it.
I don't know whether Ben went first and he put the Keeper up. It was just by the tower as well, or Nagash took that position early. It's too hard to know, really. So, without seeing the ins and outs on the game, but.
Good mix of armies, though, up here. I mean, it's good to see. We talked about it on the pre-video, looking at whether the Daughters were going to be good. Obviously, day 2, game 4, we got Daughters on 2 and 3. The one thing I know the guys were telling me about yesterday, they've been super impressed with the Cauldron of Blood. Just the amount of damage. I think people look at it as a buff piece, but it's actually it does a lot of damage. Yeah,
I mean, the avatar on the back is no slouch. So, I mean, I think it's damage free, Ren 2, I think. But it's pretty choppy.
I think it might even be damage 4, actually, bizarrely, or something. Yeah, someone was telling me yesterday. Can't remember off the top of my head now. I've seen too many rules these days, but yeah.
Yeah, so I've got to be careful when I go through rules. But yeah, I mean, as long as the avatar's awake, I think from turn 3 onwards he's awake. He's pretty choppy. I mean, the whole army's good in combat. And the Cauldron's quite tough to shift as well. So, yeah, I mean, I'm a bit surprised to see Liam's been quite conservative with his Cauldron. So I don't know why you hadn't done a bit what Ben's done. He's pushed with both sides. And I think against like Pano, he probably would have been better off doing that as well.
It's good to see a Khorne army up there as well. I mean, Pano's been playing nothing but it. I've never seen him play anything else. So I suppose experience comes through, but you don't see Khorne kicking around too high these days. Yeah, they're not bad. I think they're a good list, but they obviously got some bad matchups.
Yeah, I mean, I've played Khorne a lot. They're really good in scenario play. You've got lots of bodies. You've got little tricky things in there, like your Wrathmongers have come back into their own a little bit. You've got lots of different combat units, lots of good buff pieces. You can put in demons, you can put greater demons in if you want. But, I mean, to be honest, like, the army's solid. It just doesn't have a lot of shooting or a lot of ways to do damage at range. I mean, with the Blades of Khorne book, the Slaughter Priest became a real asset, to be honest. With the actual prayers and being able to do D6 mortal wounds. I think Paddy's running 3. So at one of the games he just did 3 D6 mortal wounds to a Bloodthirster and took it off. I mean, it really is. I mean, yeah, it looks, the army's kind of one of those things, it looks like an Iron Jawsy type horde across the table, but you've got the little tricksy stuff with the prayers, with the whip, with the banner. You've got the little buff pieces and synergies that make the army work. And it's just, I think, why they're still competitive. And at the end of the day, when you've got a lot of bodies on the table, and a lot of the scenarios are about stand bodies around this objective, and they're tough to get rid of, they're immune to battle shot, they're hard to kill, and with good positioning, you can see that on one side, he's put his Wrathmongers, the guys with the flails, behind his Blood Warriors, and that gives him, a really, really good defensive line on that objective. So you might want to run your daughters in, but the good thing about Blood Warriors is you kill them, they still fight you. The Wrathmongers will be buffing the Blood Warriors, and they will be in range to pile in and attack over the top with their 2-inch reach. So actually, chucking in 30 Witch Elves into that is actually quite a daunting task. And you think, well, actually, so he's going to get to attack me, and then he's going to kill them, but they get to attack anyway. And the Witch Elves don't like getting hit. So I think, yeah, it's an interesting matchup, and I think the Khorne, although you probably think, oh yeah, Daughters are better in combat, they've got enough tricks that actually Blood Warriors, for example, are a really good counter. So I think it's an interesting match.
No, it's a good shout, and obviously you having played Khorne, know the quite a lot, would know the nuances of it. But you're right, it does look like that's going to be interesting. And similar things where I find with the Daughters as well, like some of the builds, they're quite. You got a couple of bricks, haven't you, and then some bits. So if you lose one of the bricks in a bad trade-off, you can be on the back foot really, really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of unit count, so I mean, especially when in scenarios where you've got to stand in lots of different places, and you've got to kind of use the army together, so you kind of get to the point where you're like, oh, actually, I don't really. I mean, the biggest advantage Liam's got here is Panna's got no way really to get rid of the Hags, and the Hags giving you reroll to win immune to battle shock is massive. And then Liam also has got the Canaries that can come from the sky, so how he uses those to shoot off or kill heroes. I mean, probably wants to go for the banner if he can get there, but don't know. But it's an interesting matchup.
Definitely. So no, I mean, that sort of gives our rundown of the top tables, I suppose, at the moment. I know over the weekend we'll be coming back in further videos and doing a bit more gameplay on it. But so there you go. That answers your question, people, about what's doing well. And I mean, as we go further down the tables, just quickly, I think we've got Seraphim a bit further down versus. Do you know what any of these lists are, Ross? Down here, we've got Seraphim playing.
I'm not sure from over here. Can't see.
We'll wander that way. But yeah, so we've got Sedge playing Seraphim. I know on the table next to him we've got Mixed Order playing what looks like another. Oh, Chaos. Yeah, so here we go. So Slaves to Darkness. So it's, yeah. Oh, actually, I think he's playing Zinch. It looks like Slave to Darkness, but it's actually the Disciples Army further down playing Brian. And then we got, Nurgle list playing Seraphim. Bit further down, we've got the man himself, Chris Myhill, who you might have heard of if you're a listener of the podcast. He's playing down there with this weekend. He's playing, Mixed Order, and he's playing against Ricky's Nagash list with Prince Vordry, which seems to be doing pretty well. And then on the last of the row, we've got is that an Archean and a Glotkin list?
Yeah, it's a Maggot King, Plague Touch Warband. I think there's a way you can get the Marauders -3 to hit. So he uses like a shield. He's got Glotkin, and the Glotkin casts a spell on the Marauders, giving 2 wounds each. So you basically get the 2 wounds, and then they're -3 to hit. So just a super defensive shield. And in this scenario, it's really strong because you can basically take an objective, zone out the other, and just win on objective points.
And does that change host again by the looks of it?
That's a change host, yeah. That's a full change host.
Yeah. Quite often you see all the horrors and you think instantly change host, but as you say, there's actually a couple of battalions in there that are possible with that. So, So that sort of gives us the rundown of the tables. And then Wayne. So painting's going to be interesting. You see anything cool yesterday?
Yeah, we saw a lot of cool armies yesterday. See, we had a I mean, the nominations, I mean, obviously we've got to announce it, but the nominations, we got it down to 23 armies, which obviously is a lot. You know, there's a certain, obviously you always have to have a certain point where it's kind of like, you know, is it good enough for a nomination vote? And obviously that's always a bit tricky. But yeah, 23 armies today that are going to be lined up on these top tables when we cleared them for lunch. And then obviously we'll pick the top 3 out of that. And then there'll be also the coolest army, which, as we spoke before, not necessarily the best painted, but the concept and the theme of it and everything, you know, maybe a display board that goes with it that adds another level to it, all that taken into account, and yeah, that'd be the coolest army. So painting standard has been good. I mean, we're lucky. South Coast GT always has a really high painting standard. We've had no real issues with armies not being of the required standard.
In fact, I'd probably say it's the best from that point of view. I haven't seen. There's normally a couple of questionable ones that we've got a narrative bingo on at the moment, haven't we? And one of the things that you can score a point on your line is your opponent got borderline models, and we haven't seen hardly any borderline models, so that hasn't been ticked off very often. But it's been good.
It's one of those things that, you know, the bingo's fun, but it's the one you don't want anyone to tick. You know, so yeah, no, it's good. I mean. Judging the painting this year has been really easy because everyone's hit that minimum standard, and also sort of, you know, even if there's armies that have got a nomination but they maybe kind of realistically haven't got a chance of winning, it's a good little kind of I don't know, you're giving them guys a little bit of appreciation, saying, you know, thanks for the effort, you know, you have got a nomination, you have got to that level, you know, and then sometimes it only takes that for then the person to go, do you know what, I'm going to push my painting. You know, I've got to that stage. I'm going to push it up now. I'm going to try and compete. So, and it is. I think we should reward the effort wherever we can. You know, because let's face it, it's a big part of the hobby. You know, everyone wants to see, you know, nice tables, nice scenery, nicely painted armies, because it is, you know, it's the whole experience of the gaming. But you just, you know, if you compared that to, say, you know, a piece of MDF not painted with unpainted models, you know, just grey plastic, you know, that's not what we want. It's great. I mean, and the mats help. The mats with the scenery that's coming down here and the painted armies, it just looks great. I mean, it's, you know, I love this. Spending a weekend just, you know, walking around, just watching games, seeing all different armies. The variation in this is fantastic because even if it's like a change host, they're different. They're different versions of the change host. Yeah, it's a lot of it, and all the top tables. It's like, it's all different. It's all different armies. It's great, you know.
The game's in a good place like that, for sure. Yeah. For sure. So we've had a good look at the top tables. We've had a bit of a chat about what the exciting hobby we've seen is. I think we'll have a quick word with a couple of people who maybe fortunes aren't quite as good, and just get a word with them, see how they're getting on as well. Come on, let's go and have a look. Okay, so we've had a bit of a wander down the tables and we've found Ed Sheeran. I mean, Posh Mike. Hello, Mike. How's it going?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, mate.
Good. So, Mike, you've heard, if you're listening to the podcast, you've been on the podcast before. This is Posh Mike, everyone. Posh Mike, hooray! Who isn't really that posh as you're about to discover, but...
posh compared to Portsmouth.
Yeah. In our world, it's posh. So, Mike's playing Sylvaneth, obviously something that's keen to my heart, beautiful army. You know, I want to talk to you about your army very briefly, actually, because we are obviously in a WhatsApp group together for the club, and you've been putting this together. This is your first use of an airbrush, right?
Yeah, very much so, yeah. So I picked it up after seeing some other beautiful armies out there that have been done with airbrushes, and fancied having a go at it myself. Saving time on the base coats, but also doing some blends, making my stuff look better than I actually am.
And have you found it good? I mean, is it a thing you're going to continue to use?
Absolutely, even just for the time save. The blends are beautiful, but in an army where the blends maybe don't lend themselves so well, just getting all that base coating done is so time saving that you can really put your effort into the areas that make a difference.
And I really like your basing on this. I'm not a big fan of snow basing, but you've got this weird, cool, like, I mean, I'm slightly colourblind, but for me it looks like a greeny blue snow type deal. Was that airbrushed underneath?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So actually it's just the plain base under there that I've done some airbrush brands on to try and kind of make it look a bit icy. Yeah, frustratingly, it is a greeny blue. It is a mix of two colours, which I would not recommend for anybody because it means you're constantly having to make new paint and try and match the colour perfectly when you add new bits to your army.
Cool. And how have you found? So you've had a bit mixed fortunes on the gaming side. This is it. You're on a loss, 2 losses and a win at the minute, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Not the best outing so far because I haven't really got many models on the table. So objective play, this army really doesn't lend itself. But I thought, you know what? I painted these 3 big guys up. I've got to use them. I'll do it. Regretted it from the gaming, kind of from the objective side, but absolutely loving it from the gaming side. It's a fun army to have on the table anyway. And yeah, kind of knew it probably wouldn't do top tables this weekend, but that's fine.
We've been obviously chatting on the WhatsApp group for the club, And you know, there's been a bit of a chat about your Durfu not kind of not kind of doing what he's supposed to do. And I know Dan suffered from this quite a lot. You know, that he's got to, his stat-wise, he looks great and he should do a load of damage. But you both have suffered using Durfu because he never really does anything, does he?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole of Sylvaneth are really high variant, so there's a lot of D6 damage stuff in there, so and low number of attacks, so it can be really swingy. I mean, I think Durthu's damage output is potentially about 37. Last game he did 1 over several combats, so Dan's Durthu's called Big D. Mine's been nicknamed Little D because he's certainly not been putting in the performance.
No, it's a constant problem with that model, for sure. So, but no, well, we'll probably let you get back to your game. But really good job on the army. And just briefly on the game we're seeing on the table, you're playing Wanderers at the minute, are you?
Yeah, Wanderers, yeah. So that was something, again, close to my heart. I was a Wood Elf player in 8th edition, and Sylvaneth was kind of the closest thing I found to a kind of a really Age of Sigmar Wood Elf army. So, yeah, really excited to play them again. Haven't played them for years. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Cool. Well, good luck. And we'll let you get back to the game. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, guys, I think that's the end of a bit of a walk round for day 1. We'll let Mike get on with his game. So, day 2 even, and we'll come back to you later with some more gameplay, I'm sure. We'll see you on the next one.